It is ATL day ones with Jarvis and Tanitra. Tanitra is not here, not longer here. I'm not saying that. John Michaels is here, filling in for her today. While you watching online and listening on wherever you download your podcast, we appreciate you guys. Go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Really appreciate that from you in advance. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are set to take on the Cincinnati Bengals, John, this Friday, and we know that all the expectations coming into this season, what that looks like for the Atlanta Falcons, because we know that Arthur Smith has surrounded him with so many weapons. Talking about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Jonnu Smith, even Bijan Robinson, obviously taking a running back in the top 10. We haven't seen that since Saquon Barkley. So they went out of their way to make sure that they're going to have enough weapons around Desmond Ridder to be able to be successful. So my question to you is, what are some realistic expectations for Desmond Ridder as they going into the season?
The yardage part becomes hard because Arthur Smith has shown, even when he was in Tennessee and Ryan Tannehill had a couple of good years, they're going to run the ball. And when you have Tyler Algier, Cordero Patterson, obviously Bijan Robinson, you're going to run it first, second, and probably third. So I don't know where the yardage would be for Desmond Ridder. I'd love to see 3,200, 3,300, somewhere in there, which isn't a lot. I know last year they only averaged about 190 yards a game passing the ball, which in today's day and age of the NFL doesn't win you a whole lot. So get north of 200, whatever that means. I guess that would put you around 3,500 yards if you wanted to get north of 200 per game. I want to see 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I'd probably like to see better than that, but just say I get 24 touchdowns and 12 picks. I'd feel pretty good in year one as Desmond Ridder being a starter. If that's the numbers you get, then chip in a couple hundred yards on the ground and maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily, really focusing on the yardage, because here's the thing: like, if you can keep those turnovers down, like, don't hold on to the football, make sure you don't fumble that bad boy, and then if you can get single-digit interceptions, I know that might be asking a lot, but I think that was the Falcons' big issue last year with Marcus Mariota. This guy. I actually said his name for the first time. I don't say his name either more. I used to say one. One just couldn't hold on to the football, and he just couldn't find a way to connect with Kyle Pitts, because I feel like that was the other issue, right? Like, turn the ball over and then figuring out a way to get the rock to Kyle Pitts, because it just didn't work last year. And I think that we saw what he can do with Drake London in just those 4 games. Like, they had a really good connection going on. So I think that if he can establish himself with Kyle Pitts, along with, continuing that relationship that he has with, or connection that he has with Drake London, I feel like then he'll be cooking with some grease.
Yeah, and then you also remember, and he didn't have Cordero, or he had Cordero, but he didn't have Bijan last year. Kyle Pitts wasn't healthy. Obviously, you just talked about that. Jonnu Smith becomes another weapon that we kind of forget about. And Mac Hollins. Mac is built like he had missed a day. Right? He hadn't missed a day in the weight room. I mean, he doesn't wear any shoes, but he hadn't missed a day in the weight room, because that dude's getting it in. And I think stuff like that is going to help. We all wondered when Terry Fontenot took over what the philosophy was going to be building the team. And we know how hamstrung he was with salary cap issues and everything else. But they decided, you know what? We are going to double and triple down on the offensive side of the ball. 3 straight years you've taken skill guys at the top of the draft. Desmond, obviously being a 3rd-round pick, is there. The offensive line is pretty set, save left guard, which we're still going to figure out in the next couple of weeks. For Desmond, it's really just don't screw it up. And I know that's easier said than done in the NFL, but when we were at practice, you saw the guy can make throws. He made some tight window throws in some of the red zone drills, and I think that's going to help this team tremendously as they move into 2023.
And that's the thing that I like about Ridder as well, because, I wasn't that high on him coming out. I was up here pounding the table for Malik Willis, and, see how that turned out. But I think that the one thing that I really like about him is the fact that dude is not scared to put it in there. And we know that, one, he was scared to put it in there, and if he tried to put it in there, he was going to overthrow the dude by 4 to 5 inches, because I'm like, dude, you got 6'4" to 6'5" wide receivers. Why are you overthrowing them dudes by so much? You know what I'm saying? Like, get it in the vicinity, give him a chance, give him an opportunity. So I think that's the one thing that I really like about Ridder, as far as like, hey, the guy, he's not afraid to stick it in there. And I think if you look at what Arthur Smith is trying to do, and with running the football and establishing in that. And then you talking about that play action game. I think that's where he's going to make his money. He's going to be able to make his money in those shot plays. If they can get somewhere in the middle of the league or the top half of the league, as far as 20 plus yard games, chunk plays, I feel like that'll be something that will be a huge accomplishment for the Falcons, because we know that they have the weapons to be able to make those plays. And then once they get down into the red zone, then they have to be able to capitalize.
And you think about last year, the chances that you could have had making chunk plays, and some of the philosophy that Arthur Smith obviously didn't trust his quarterback to make plays. The Tampa game, the one that had the horrible Grady Jarrett roughing the passer late that cost us a chance.
Oh, gosh.
They went on a 14-play drive. They were down either 14 or 21 points, and they went on a 14-play drive. They didn't throw the ball not one damn time. Now you have a guy that you can somewhat trust, and you obviously have said, look, I'm putting my eggs in the number 9 basket. Desmond Ridder's got to be the guy. But with their ability to run the ball, and Jarvis, you played football more than I did. You know, if you can run the ball, that play action pass, those safeties start coming up. You have to put 8 in the box, and now you get a Drake London, a Kyle Pitts, a Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller in the middle of the field, maybe a Bijan on a wheel route out of the backfield, and you get matchups where you can take plays. And that's where they need to add. The offense is good running the football, but you start adding some explosives. Oh, my goodness, the sky's the limit for the Falcons.
Yeah, man. Like, as the more and more we talk about it, the more and more I start thinking to myself, I was like, how's this dude going to spread all of this around?
Right.
Which brings me to my next question. Like, are there going to be some guys just going to be left out on Sundays?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's going to be Sundays that Cordero gets 5 touches, and you're going to go, what happened to him? There's going to be Sundays that Tyler Algier only carries the rock 7-8 times. There's going to be times Bijan only probably gets 8 to 10 touches throughout the game, or that Kyle Pitts, and I had a comment. I said, I need Kyle Pitts to have 10 targets. And then I realized that's ridiculous, because I think Travis Kelce for tight ends might have had about 130 targets a year ago, which is only about 8 or 9 per game, and you're playing with the best quarterback in the world. So 10 might be aggressive, but I need about 6 or 7 every game for Kyle Pitts, and I don't care how it happens.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's what you look like. I think there's going to be some priorities, right? Yeah, the guy who's the highest drafted tight end in NFL history. Yeah, you should give him the rock. You know what I'm saying? You should find a way to get it to him. So, and I think that's going to be the beauty of going up against this offense on each Sundays at 1:00 is the fact that these teams are going to have to really do their homework, man. You're talking about from a game planning standpoint, because not only are you going to have to game plan for Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, guy you can line up anywhere on the field.
Right.
And the younger, probably more talented version of that in Bijan Robinson, you add him to the equation. Then you got these treetops on the outside and Drake London and Mac Hollins. So it's a lot of moving parts, man. I'm very interested to see how Arthur Smith plays his bad boy out, because I think this is going to be something that if Desmond Ridder, going back to Desmond Ridder, it always falls back to 9. If he actually does what he's supposed to do, he doesn't have to exceed expectations.
Right.
If he just gets the ball into the hands of his playmakers, this has a chance to be one of the top offenses in the league, I believe.
Well, you talk about spreading it around. I go back to the Super Bowl year, and you were doing pregame show at that time, I believe, and working on the postgame and everything else. I was on the sidelines. Think about spreading the ball around that year. Matt Ryan threw the ball 13 different receivers caught touchdown passes. Yep. You had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman in the backfield. Austin Hooper and Jacob Tamme before he got hurt at tight end, and Levine Toilolo. Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel. Can't forget Julio Jones, obviously.
Absolutely.
Aldrick Robinson. They had dudes that were going to get the ball. But on Sunday, Kyle Shanahan found a way to keep everybody happy. And again, Matt Ryan had an MVP year that year, and I'm not saying Desmond Ridder will do that, but there's similarities to the way, and I was watching Friday night when they played the Dolphins, similarities to the scheme from Kyle Shanahan to Arthur Smith, the outside zone, the bootlegs, finding like the deep over routes, stuff to take chunk plays. Those are going to be there. And to your point, it does go back to number 9. He's got to come up with some big plays this year.
Absolutely. 9 is going to be I could say it's going to be probably a lot of pressure on him, but for him and kind of interacting with him, I feel like he doesn't even really see it. He doesn't even know what the level of that he's going to be faced with. So I think that's a good thing, though, because like you said, he has the confidence of the general manager, Terry Fontenot, and Arthur Smith as well. So those guys have more than outwardly and just from the way they've built this team, saying that, hey, we believe in you. All you got to do is just go out there and go do what you need to do.
And there's something about being a winner. And Desmond Ridder was that in college. He was a 3-star recruit coming out, not overly highly recruited, won the job as a freshman at Cincinnati and was a starter for 4 years. He brought Cincinnati to a college football playoff. So the guy knows how to run. Now, right. Alabama kicked their butt. And look how he did against Alabama. Guess what? Look how anybody did against Alabama that year. Alabama had one of the elite defenses of all time. But the guy knows how to win football games. It's not like he was playing with 10 5-stars at Cincinnati. He was playing with other 3-stars, and he knew how to win football games. And I think hopefully that translates into the NFL where he can go out and win some ball games.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that if he, like you said, the guys that are surrounding him right now, they're way more than 3-stars. Let me tell you that much. That talent level is a lot better than what it was at Cincy. So I'm sure he's starting to feel that already as he goes into his first full season as the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. And we appreciate you guys for rocking with us and making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Why don't you go ahead and drop a comment in the comment box? For all our everydayers, just say, hey, I'm an everydayer. Hey, Jarvis and Tanisha, I love y'all. Hey, Jarvis, when is Tanisha coming back? She'll be back, I promise you. But, my main man, John Michaels, is holding it down today.